Hello, hello, my lovelies. Uh, can you hear me well? Let's make sure that everything is working at the best quality for you. Hello, Swiss. Who else is here? Say hello on the chat, Joanne. I see Mark. I see Iris. Yeah, welcome everyone. I'm just connecting to a few different devices and locations, so it's a joy to be here. I want to start off with a sound healing, just to tune us in this beautiful instrument. It's from wherever you're doing, wherever you're coming from, to be able to be here with you. I want to kick us off with this beautiful sound, just to ground us from all the things that we've been running from and towards on this day, to make sure that we find ourselves here. Okay, so take a breath. And exhale longer than you inhale if you haven't yet. If you don't have your feet on the floor, it is such a good feeling to be supported, to acknowledge all the things, all the beings, all the, alive and seemingly not alive stuff that support us in this moment. And I'm super excited to talk with you again today. We've been doing these on every Tuesday at this time. So if you want to sign up for the next one coming up, we're going to be talking next week about breakups, how to become a breakup master and what that really means intentionally. But today we're talking about red flags. And what I share with you today might surprise you, right? Because obviously you can go online, you can ask ChatGPT, you can watch some YouTube videos asking what would be some of the red flags in dating. And what we're going to do is a little bit different. We're going to look at a more meta way of looking at it that would actually be really relevant to you. But let's start off where you'd probably expect to start, and that is let's say why. Like, why would you want to spot red flags early? And this is a really interactive space. If you're here for the first time, you're welcome to really share your thoughts, your specific situations in the chat, so we can work through this together. Because I don't want these calls to just be me talking as much as an opportunity for you to look at your life, right? Like, that makes it so much more embodied. That makes it so much more relevant to you in your specific situations. So why might we, to avoid, hello, Iris, to avoid wasting time. Yeah. So we have this desire of, okay, like, I want to be aligned. If I'm looking for something specifically, I just want it right there and then, right? I don't want to be, and maybe it's not even something that you mentioned there, but you don't want to be stuck with the wrong person, because it means you couldn't find the right person if that other person is in the way, right? So, okay, we want to avoid wasting time. Anything else? Like, why would you want to see red flags early and to live accordingly? Maybe to avoid pain. Yeah, we want to not waste time. We want to avoid pain. We want, what else? Not to repeat the same patterns as in the past. So maybe to grow, to learn, right? Like, to know that, I've been there, done that. I want to have learned my lesson. Yeah. So there are some real reasons, as in there is a real cost in not spotting these red flags, right? time of our life passes, we find ourselves in the same situations that we have lived already and didn't exactly enjoy. And we might, because we're living those things, we're not having the good stuff that we're hoping for. So it makes sense that we'd want to spot the red flags. So, what are some of these red flags, right? Because you don't need me to tell you what these red flags are. Yeah. So just like quick brainstorm, what are some things? What are some people that you would avoid, some situations that you would avoid, some behaviors that you would avoid? And then I'll tell you the real thing that we should be looking out for. Okay. So then we're going to flip that around. We could say, I don't know, a red flag to look out for would be people interested in short-term pleasure. Great, right? If you're looking for something long-term, somebody who's like, you know what, I'm just having fun right now, not looking for anything serious, that is something to listen. Or let's say somebody who's disrespectful to other people around you, right? Like they talk disrespectfully about their exes, you watch them be disrespectful to their family members or to people in the same space. What else? Like, what else do we already know is a red flag? You're like, oh my God, shouldn't go there. And welcome if you just got here. What else? And notice that these things that we are asserting as red flags are things that, like mistakes that we've done in the past, right? You're like, oh, a red flag would be somebody that only talks about themselves, somebody who's dealing with a mental illness or with an active addiction. Like, it's something that you don't want to get involved with from the get-go. You know, you have the right to want what you want and not want what you don't want. So we have kind of a library of things from the past that we say, been there, done that. I want to avoid that same scenario. Okay. So we listed a couple here. We could spend a whole lot more time on this. But I assert that you could literally just ask ChatGPT, or you could just take 5 minutes and you'll find out all the red flags that you'd be looking out for. The real thing with red flags, there are two things that I want to mention during this time together that I invite you to reflect on. The first thing is so counterintuitive. The first thing is when we're looking for red flags, we are going to find them. Okay. So even in good people, I mean, we're all good people, but I mean, good people for you, even if the people that you're like, wow, those people would be perfect for you, because we're trying to avoid the past, because you are looking out for those red flags, you are going to see them. Okay. So I want to twist your brain here for a moment. Yeah, everybody's hunting for narcissism. Yes, right? So I'm like, that was a little selfish of them. Or like, I don't know, they talked a little bit more. I think they're a little bit narcissistic. Or, yeah, I don't know, this thing really benefited them. So the more that we look for a certain thing, we find it, right? So I'll just give you another example. I think I've done this on another call, but just a quick example here. If you look at my screen right now, just to prove the point, if you look at my screen right now, look for all the brown things that you can see on the screen. Yeah, like 2 or 3 brown things, quick. All right. Okay, sweet. So tell me what the white little thing is on this call. So you weren't looking for something white and little. The moment I say that, it's very easy to see this, or maybe to see, I don't know, my nails or something else. But if you're looking for brown, you're going to say, I don't know, her skin is brown, right? Like that thing is brown, or I don't know, maybe even that thing could be a little brown. Maybe your hair is a little brown. So if I'm looking for brown, I'm going to take things that aren't exactly brown, but I'm going to say, yeah, that's probably brown. This is probably brown. because I don't want brown, right? So, or so I'm looking for it. We're going to take perfectly human flaws or human, you know, I'm lacking words today. Um, but the thing for stability, right? Consistency. It's a real need of mine. And so maybe the thing that you need is real, it is necessary. So I'm somebody who values consistency, who values stability, who values structure, who values a space that is grounded because I travel the whole world. I work with people in multiple languages, multiple continents. Things are shifting and changing all the time. I'm a woman, all the hormones are changing every week. So I look for a masculine presence that is just stable, grounded, clear, easy. What I do, or what I used to do in relationships, is I would obviously test the men. So as soon as I got into a relationship, I would get so annoyed when somebody was late 2 minutes and they didn't say anything, 1 minute and they didn't say anything. When somebody called me 35 past and it was supposed to be 30 and they didn't make a mention of it. So, like, really, really high relational standards for a particular way of living that doesn't really tell much. Like, if somebody is 5 minutes late for a call, or if they show up at my door 2 minutes late, they don't mention it. It's something that we can work through and we can discuss and we can understand each other. But my mind would jump to, I can't have a baby with this guy, right? Can't rely on him. He is not going to be there for my child or for me when I need it. So I'm giving really extreme examples. And because I was looking out for that, not only would I find it in perfectly, committed, clear, assertive men, I would also create it. Okay. So I would behave or show up in certain ways that would set them up for failure. Okay. So I would create a certain scenario, I would behave in certain ways that would make it harder for them to be on time, that would make it harder for them to be able to acknowledge, right? So I wouldn't even give them time to say, hey, you know what, I'm 5 minutes late, or, oh, this thing happened. What was it like for you? I would already blow up, I would already be upset, I would already say the thing, and it would derail the relationship. Does this make sense? Is this resonating? So we all know or could list red flags, things that we don't want, things that show flakiness, things that show lack of commitment, lack of follow through. Intellectually, I could bet money that you already know these things. The first thing that I wanted to bring up on this call for reflection is when we're looking for red flags, we find them and we create them. Okay. So the same person sometimes could show up much more consistently with Sarah than with me. They could show up much more consistently with Monica than with me. But there is something in the way that I show up that hits that dynamic. So we're talking about, everybody being on the lookout for narcissism or for controlling behavior or for, the person that one ups you or tries to take advantage. In order for that person to be in a relationship with anybody, they need to find the person that is looking to people please, that is looking to, put up with that kind of behavior, that is looking to be reactive. So whenever we react to something, it's like we hold on to it. Whenever we react to something, whenever we're looking out for those negative things, we're going straight towards it. There is another, I think it was Tony Robbins that brought this metaphor up for the first time. And he was talking about F1 drivers, right? That the one rule of F1 driving is not to look at the wall. Because if you're driving at that high speed and you look at the wall, you're going to hit the wall. So if we're living our lives, Iris, not wanting to waste time, if I'm living my life at a high speed on the fast lane for love, and I look at the wall, I'm going to hit the wall. If I look at the inconsistencies, if I look at the egoistical behaviors, if I look at those things, I'm going to drive straight into the people that have those behaviors. Sounds super counterintuitive, right? So just give me like some emoji or a yes or yeah, I'm with you on the chat. So I know that this is resonating already. I see it. And because of that, that kind of leads me to the thing that I coach people on, and the thing that I've trained myself on, and that over the years, especially as a woman, like I think we try to protect ourselves in much deeper ways, or like in much broad ways than a male body would try and protect themselves, right? So I think we all in our 30s, by the time we reach 30s, we're trying to protect ourselves from some bad experience that we've had. So we're all trying to protect. But even when I think about like physically harming situations, like I used to think, and I grew up, and maybe you as well, in an environment where we think we need to analyze things to protect ourselves. We need to come to a call like this, or we need to go to some training, or we need to read some book that are going to tell us the behaviors that we need to predict and prevent and avoid, right? Like we watch videos about safety and security. This is what you do, this is what you don't do. And not only did I grow up in Brazil, I mean, as a woman, I grew up in Brazil, which, yeah, I've lived most of my last 10 years in South Africa in between travels. And so I've been in places where safety, protection, red flags in multiple layers were on the back of my mind, right? Like, how do I avoid hurting myself? How do I avoid not repeating situations from the past? The thing that I've found to be the most effective was always to be connected to myself. Okay. So, in situations of abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, in situations of early dating where I think this isn't for me, in situations of long term dating when I realize this isn't for me, the biggest red flag was an internal light that would guide me whether this was to stay or whether this was to go in the moment. Okay. Yes, Kieran, there are recordings on YouTube. So if you missed the beginning of this call, or if you've missed the previous calls, they happen every Tuesday. And in fact, the beginning of the year, I was doing these every single day. So you can go, that's the handle on YouTube. You can go and watch and leave comments, and then even suggest, suggest themes as well. And I feel really touched listening, hearing you say that this is especially beneficial for your daughter. I love when I see you guys recommending, sharing the posts, the links, the meditations with your friends, with your family, when people tell me that this is how they found me. It is so profound. So there was, how much do I share here? So I'll share a little bit. I won't go into the detail, right? So I think one of the most traumatizing experiences that I've had in my life was in Scotland, and it was in a spiritual center, a very famous spiritual center, with a whole bunch of spiritual leaders. And I remember, so analytically, right? Yeah, thanks, Jill. Analytically, we could look at all the right things on paper, right? Oh, wow, this is a safe space. This is a space for healing. This is a well known space in the world. On paper, we could see the people that I'm engaging with, this person that I'm trusting to be close to, they are a renowned leader in the world. And I think, okay, yeah, I should feel safe, right? So I should disregard all the alarms and things going into my mind, into my, you know, alertness, into my intuition, because I'm looking out for the red flags, right? And the deepest thing that I thought was that I didn't want to stay in a place in the evening. And then I remembered growing up, my dad telling me, you should not walk alone at night as a woman, right? So I was in this place. And in order to go back to the place where I thought I needed to be and that I wanted to be, I'd have to walk alone at night for a very long distance. And I figured that would be unsafe, right? So, all the things that people tell us, all the things that we supposedly know intellectually or that we're trying to analyze, if we follow them, sometimes that's the thing that leads us straight to danger, because we're overriding the most powerful system that we have, that is our intuition, and that is all the senses that animalistically we have access to. Yeah. So, and I'm sure like there are lots of stories. I'm saying, like, you guys are mentioning some names and stuff, and I have a big value of mine that is, one, to take measures to ensure that people are safe and to address this in the ways that I think would be safe for me and for other people, and at the same time to avoid um, I think harming anybody's image or reputation further, right? So I really want and believe that things are much more complex, and this is a whole other theme, right? And I think ultimately it's like, okay, whoever suffers a situation where we don't feel safe, like, it's ultimately a very complex decision for how to address and when to address and how much to get involved and how much to even share publicly. So I'm happy to point people in the right direction for some of these choices. If any of you have shared or you resonate and you message me, to really point programs and things that I think have really resonated and supported me through that experience. And if we go back to this idea of being connected to ourselves, if in that moment, and that was such a big lesson for me, and I had so many incredible lessons from that experience, I wouldn't have had that experience happen differently, right? Like, I've got a wisdom today that I would have never had I not gone through that experience and everything that came afterwards. But and one of these lessons is that connection to self. Ain't nobody and no expert and ain't no research, ain't no anything that is going to be more protective to you or to support you clear on your path than connect with the light within you, connect with the wisdom of your body, the wisdom of your soul. And so I could come here and give you guys a long list of red flags that you can find anywhere else for dating, for early dating, for safety, for whatever it may be. But truly, when we are so centered, so clear, we do not tolerate behaviors that aren't helpful for us. When I am nourished, I cannot tolerate somebody talking to me a certain way. You cannot tolerate somebody behaving in a certain way in a relationship. But we live today in a world where we're so intellectually trying to read the environment outside. And as you know, if you have anxious tendencies, you spend so much time trying to read and understand what this person is doing. We have so many videos and content on like how to get somebody to feel a certain way, how to get someone to do something, go on a date with you, fall in love with you, how to get the guy, how to keep the guy. And we give away all this power to people outside of us to tell us what to do or to give us the feeling that we want to feel, when we could literally be redirecting all this energy into being focused, into getting into my breath, into listening to my need for validation, my need for to look successful, my need to look accomplished, my need to have somebody important think of this or that about me, or my need to walk with this kind of man or this kind of woman, that we outsource our happiness, we outsource our pleasure, we outsource our love, as opposed to giving it freely because we're overflowing. So I'm going to look into the chat in a little bit. I'd love to hear what's resonating with you guys from this call, from this chat up to now. We've got another 10, 15 minutes together, and I want to integrate all the things that we spoke about. And I'll give you another example that goes on the same vein, right? I think so many of us have so many examples of trauma and abuse of different kinds. And for a long, I am a dancer, I love dancing. In addition, I have never introduced myself to you properly. My name is Eloa. I am a communication coach in love and dating. I've been facilitating for 13 years in 6 continents. I run singles events in 40 cities in the world. And in my spare time, I really, really love dancing. I love surfing. I love rock climbing. I adore being in my body. Like the moment I discovered that, it was life changing. And I was involved, I think, because I was really working with the dating scene. And I sometimes had events for people that were dancers that wanted to meet other dancers, or that were rock climbers and wanted to meet other rock climbers. The singles events are really focused on values alignment. So I was pulled into conversations about safe spaces in the dance scene. And what I'm sharing this with you is has so much to do with red flags and spotting situations early on. And there are a lot of, there was this one occasion where I finished dancing with this man. And at the end of the dance, we normally hug each other in the community, right? So you dance and then you give each other a hug. And I danced with him, and he came to give me a hug, and he kissed me on my neck while I was hugging him. Completely, I mean, I don't even have words to say how inappropriate that was, right? And the thing that I noticed myself doing afterwards, and even before, if I am true to myself, and the thing that I've noticed followers do when they dance and they feel awkward, is that they disconnect from the dance, right? And so you kind of stop looking at the person, you try and disengage from the situation, as opposed to either just firmly ending a dance or being super present in the dance. And I thought, if I disconnect, if I'm not looking at my partner, it gives them so much more, leeway to move or do something or lead me into something that I'm not comfortable, as opposed to if I am 100% present and connected. And if I am 100% present and connected, I'm going to know when something doesn't feel good in the moment. And I'm going to be able to end that dance so much earlier. I'm going to be able to end that relationship so much earlier, end that interaction, go home, leave the party, all the things so much sooner, because I'm not disregarding the signals that are going through, because I'm not trying to talk myself into something or out of something. So a lot of the times the problem is with red flags, with this kind of knowledge, with the knowledge that we share about dating and love, is that we're talking ourselves into doing things and we're talking ourselves out of doing things, or convincing, finding reasons for other people's behaviors, as opposed to just being here, super connected, super present, super connected with the person that I'm in the room, such that I can be like, oh, that felt weird. Oh, I didn't like that. I don't like how this feels. And disregard every good sense and advice to just follow that instinct. So I see lots of you here. I'm going to read a little bit of the chat. If there's something in particular that resonated with you, or that you're like, wow, this is such a wake-up call, or this is so valuable, I'd love to hear what specially resonated. Yeah, it's definitely a person, not the place. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. The guide is within. Yeah. What a beautiful, powerful song. And I'm saying all the loves and all the hearts. And I really just invite us to take a moment to just breathe, right? And you can make sounds like and move. It feels like your body needs to move. You know, it's very interesting. There is this concept from Kabbalah that I connected with recently, that was that the darkness is actually an abundance of light, right? And so when the light is so much greater than our vessel is, that we consider that, or we see that as the darkness. It's just like a lot of light trying to enter our lives. And then we have these very challenging moments. We have these like very moments of like, oh my God, this is deep. This is a lot. I wasn't planning on this. I wasn't planning on sharing. I wasn't planning on listening. But all the things, we can handle all the things. We can be face to face with every situation and every person. There is nothing, if there's one thing else also that I learned, is that nobody can really harm you, right? Like somebody can harm your body, somebody can do whatever they do, but nobody can harm you, really. Like, not who you are, not your essence, not your soul. There is nothing anybody can touch. They cannot touch like the essence of your being without your permission. So, people can do whatever they do without really touching you. And that is something that brings me so much love, self-love, compassion, self-compassion. Those are the things that I would really like and appreciate seeing more in this community, that we can turn more towards us, that we can turn more towards giving ourselves that love, giving you that love, giving you that recognition, giving you that validation, that you don't need to look out for red flags, because you just know what aligns with you and what doesn't. And when you are that centered, a lot of people that would have red flag behaviors, either they have to raise their standards and show up in an entire different way with you, or they won't even approach you, right? Because if they approach you, they know that they get dismissed within a few seconds, within a few minutes, within a few days, because that kind of flakiness, disrespect, or whatever, like different layers, like long short-term thinking, when you're thinking long term, they know that that is not even a thing. I've had so many men, like when I think about the last um the times when I was single in the last decade or so, uh and more so recently, I'd have men that I'd go on dates say, you know what, I was so afraid of like even going there with you because I knew that we didn't want the same thing, right? Like I knew that I couldn't give you what you wanted, or had men straight up tell me, you know what, I don't think we could date because I'm not looking for anything long term right now, or because I'm moving countries, or because of this. Like I don't think I could provide the comfort that you need, or the desire that you need. Um, and we're not talking like about financial things necessarily, but the more centered, explicit, clear we are, people naturally start, um yeah, there's no room for people to hide, like in avoidant anxious relationships. The anxious person really also avoids a lot of conversations, right? And so it gives leeway for the avoidant to hide, for the person that just going to linger in your life, not keeping anything serious because we are not having straight up conversations. So I think the biggest red flag is not being in tune with ourselves. The biggest red flag with other people is not being in tune with ourselves. And that is when we straight up just, it won't even feel like rejecting someone. It's just a no-brainer. Like there's just no room for that in your life. There's no availability for a situation that doesn't fully align. Yeah, I think red flags are okay to discuss. Yeah, totally. And there's a lot of it. It keeps us in a place waiting for it. I think balance is good. Look harder for green flags. Yeah, don't look for the walls. And I'm not saying disregard uh, being aware. What I'm saying is I think so many of us are so aware. Like I think we've flipped to the other side, where if we bring back the F1 metaphor, I don't know if you guys were here, of course, like the F1 driver, like they have so many safety things in place, right? Like they have a car that is designed a certain way. They've done the training to do the thing that they're doing. They've got like helmet. They've got all the safety things in place. So it's like, yes, like understand you go to an area or a space where a lot of particular things happen, or you're going on a first date, and like I wouldn't go on a first date necessarily just hopping in a car with a stranger that I don't know, right? Somebody tells me, hey, can I pick you up from your place? I'm like, no, I'm definitely not giving you my home address, and you cannot pick me up because you could drive me anywhere. So there are these common sense things that I think are helpful to discuss. And as I said, you can go to ChatGPT and you could get them. You could go on YouTube and you could get a lot of those things. Um, but I could feel a deep sense of something. I have so many stories, and so many good stories as well, of overriding some of these. Oh my God, you should never do this. Because I just felt so aligned. Like it just felt so, like I felt so certain to move a certain direction. Right. And so I moved to that direction despite all caution, and I had incredible experiences. So it is to balance as you were saying here, Jerry Joe, to know all the things that we can do in the outside world, like know the things that we can do, but not to use them to override the deeper knowing. Love the Maritime's history of red flags. When you raise it, you also claim a fight into the death, no surrender. Yeah. Yeah, and we can see, and then there's, for the last final minutes here together, there are a lot of studies on culture, like in my love lab. I don't know if we'll do this year. So the love lab is my long-term coaching program. It's just a handful of people in that, and people stay for years because uh, you become a family, you travel together, you get to learn people's patterns and behaviors and reach for each other in a very beautiful way. Um, but what was I saying? What was I saying? Uh, Totally forgot what I was saying. Clearly, I just wanted to tell you about the Love Lab. Um, yeah, no idea. Oh yeah, the culture code. So one of the books that we used in one of the years was the culture code, and it tells us how much our behavior influence the people around us. So what I was saying before is like when we're looking for brown, we find brown, we turn things into brown. If I'm looking for blue, I will turn a person into blue because I'm so determined to find that men just want sex, that women just want money, that whatever else, people just want short term, people are flaky. I will turn behaviors into that, and I will show up in ways that bring those sides of people. So, yeah, our attention, our focus really has such an immense impact into the lives that we create. And so there's so many layers of this conversation, right? That is really hard to put into just 45 minutes. Um, I want to say thank you for your presence. Thank you for your shares. Thank you for you listening, for holding space in beautiful ways, for my shares, for people on the chat, for the love that you guys give each other, for the donations. I always feel like the luckiest person in the world to receive money for doing this in the different ways that I do. We do have, for those of you that have asked me about the singles events, right, all over the world, 6 continents, I have an alignment call for anybody that wants to join in about 3.5 hours. So if you go on my website, the link is in my profile. You can go, you can do a free quiz there and find out your relating archetype. There are a lot of other resources that I've seen some of you really benefit from. And next week, same time here, we will be talking about breakups. Okay, so something that I tell people that really shocked them when I started saying this. I had a year last year when I ended relationships so fast. I became a master at breakups, and I was so proud of myself. And people said, "Oh my gosh, surely that's not a good thing that you got really good at breakups." But every successful person in business will tell you that the people that really succeed are the quitters, right? Like the quicker you quit something that isn't for you, the better. And I think it aligns a little bit with this conversation, which is why I put it for next week. So it's called the Breakup Skill Set. You can go again also on my profile and register and sign up for the call next week. It has been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for being here. Bye. Alrighty. Bye. 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 Shall I leave a link here? I think I will leave a link here for the singles events for those of you that are watching that might want to join. Here's where you go. Alrighty. See you on the other side.